Welcome everyone to the Maple and Blossom Podcast Store, episode 32. This is our second part of Yoda in April. We finished the first half in our first. So if you didn't listen to the first part, please go listen to that. We have a lot to get through. I am one of your hosts, Blossom, and as always, my co-host Maple.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into today's episode. So, a little bit of a warning: there is going to be a lot of spoilers in this episode, so please tread cautiously.
Yes. Okay. Well, we have a lot to cover, so
Let's
let's
jump
just
in.
jump right into it. Hey, you can start us off by jumping us into episode 12.
Yeah. So, episode 12 starts with Tsubaki sitting in a class, and she's kind of looking out the window, and she's like distracted, not really paying attention, and she starts to hear the sound of a violin and piano playing in the distance. So next, it kind of pans into the music room. We see Kaori and Kosei practicing, with, of course, her getting mad at him and throwing a bottle because he's playing distracted.
Exactly. So just immediately here, there's like tension, there's
Yeah,
emotion already. So
yeah.
Data Seto takes Kosei to like a summer festival. And you also see no, that's it on. Sorry. They have a conversation about it. Is it like he's like wondering like, is it okay for me to really be like a pianist? And then Kari and Kosei, there's really not much more to this conversation. Did you want to add anything else here before I jump a little bit further?
The only thing really is just you kind of get little bits of the backstory of the song, a little bit with a bit of the flashbacks, where it's
Hi.
more showcasing that this was his mother's favorite song, and that he more heard it all the time, as like a lullaby. Like he would be sleeping under the piano, hearing her play, and then he would hear her singing it to him while, like, rubbing his hair, kind of thing. So this is where he's more conflicted with the piece, and then that's where he's really asking, like, Seto, like, look, I really tried to erase her. I tried to forget her. So is it really okay for me to actually carry on as, like you said, a pianist, given the fact that I tried to, kind of forget her and forget her gift, kind of thing.
So yeah, in the next scene you see Kari and Kosei on a bike,
Yeah.
and they are looking up at the stars and they are singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And he drops her off at her house and he meets her parents. Uh, I like it here because they just kind of like, oh, they're like, what do you want with my daughter? Like,
Yeah, what do
who
you do
are
with my
you? Oh
daughter?
wait, it's Kosei. Oh, hi Kosei. And
Yeah,
they're
they,
just
they
like
pull
all
him in
happy
and
about
start,
it.
they pull him in and they just start feeding him massive amounts of sweets. Like the table is
Yeah,
just covered with sweets. And
I
of
like this too
course,
because Kari's like, no, they showed you my baby pictures too. Like,
yeah.
and she's just like showing all these pictures of Kari and stuff like that. I really like this. Like, it was a lighthearted, silly scene. It was kind of nice to like break the
Mhm.
tension that was earlier on in this episode. So
Yeah,
I thought that was like good for just the progression
yeah.
of this one here.
Well, and that's exactly it. And then you kind of see them, like you said, they kind of walk off in the distance. So he's going home, and she decides to walk him down the road a little bit. Um, so then we see the next day, the group is kind of standing in the music room window, and
I
they're
really
watching them play.
real quick, I really liked a note that Kaori makes too right before they get
Hmm.
set up, but right before Kosei leaves, and she's like, "Are you tall? Like, did you grow taller?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know." And then she's like, "Oh no, it's because you're not looking down." And I really
Yeah,
thought that was like really like a nice like little moment again between them. But yeah, they're going into the music room.
yeah. So everyone's just kind of watching them play, and she's scolding him again.
Hmm.
And then somebody kind of mentions going off and kind of shooting off fireworks, maybe. So they decide, Kaori decides, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go do fireworks.
Yeah, so they set fireworks off at the school pool.
Yep.
And then they kind of talk about their future. Kosei. Oh yeah, sorry. yeah, they talk about their future path after high school, but when Kaori was asked about it, she doesn't really give an answer here.
Yeah.
Um, and also like her fireworks starts going out at that time too. So yeah, the like throughout this anime, there's a lot of symbolism, and Kosei is looking over at them, and oh, sorry. Tsubaki is kind of looking over at them as they're like joking around, and kicks Kosei into the pool again. I don't get it. This is I like it shows her jealousy here, in my
Yeah.
opinion, and I just think it's not good at all.
Yeah, so she kicks him, he falls in, and then they end up rescuing him, I guess.
Yeah, we see too. Kosei gets like a little bit of a flashback about his
Yeah.
recent journey and stuff like that, and he's like, because all this while when he can't hear the music, it's almost like he always makes note like he's at the bottom of the ocean, and then here he
Yeah, he's
makes a
like
note
looking
like,
up.
oh, maybe he realizes that maybe the light can reach the bottom, right?
Mhm.
Which is kind of like the light inside of him kind of growing again. So there's so much symbolism like in just this one episode, but the anime is completely filled with it. So I think it's like
Yeah.
really neat. And then the next day starts. It's the day of the gala, and Kaori has not shown up yet. So
Yeah.
that is a little bit concerning. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is one of the ones where like this was just like a weird scene for me because I'm like nobody was concerned by this. Like, like she was the one who was gung ho and like drag him around, and then all of a sudden she's a no show, and everyone's just like, okay, nobody thinks something's wrong or anything, um, which was just odd to me. So we kind of see a little bit here where there's people who's showing up to kind of watch them, and there's excitement building. Like Emmy, his rival, decides to show up, and she's like hidden herself, in this like a hoodie and a mask on, and her teacher immediately just walks up to her and just like, "Oh hey, come on, we
This
got to
was
take our seat,
hilarious.
Emmy. We got to take our
That was
seat,
just
Emmy." And she's like,
hilarious.
"How do you know it's me?" She's like, "It felt like I wanted to watch him." She said, "Come on."
I'm just here to listen to violin music.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's like, "Here's your
that was
brochure.
great.
Let's go. Let's go sit down." So they're trying to stall a bit of time to try to see if there's like maybe she's on her way, because nobody can really get a hold of her at this point. So they decide to maybe go try to swap positions. Like maybe we can go later on in the performance. So they talk to Mike, who's the final act, and they talk about him swapping. Just flat out like, no, I'm not doing that. She's irresponsible for being late, so that's on her.
He's like, I won the competition. I get the right to play the last. Like at the end, right?
Yeah, and of course Kosei takes offense to this and is kind of a little bit fired up about the scenario. Like, yeah, you wait. So their time comes up, and Kosei ends up going out on his own to start the performance.
Yeah, and that's how that episode ends. So yeah,
Yes.
episode 13. You get a flashback of Seto playing the piano, complaining about her husband, which I thought was like hilarious. And then Kosei starts playing it without it being even a thought, right? And then Seto was
Yep.
like, "Oh my gosh, well how can you play?" Right? And then Kosei, like at this point he's like 5-year-old, right? And he's like, "Well, why shouldn't I? Why
Why wouldn't
wouldn't
I
I
be
know
able
how
to
to
play?
play?" Like he just
Yeah.
thinks like everyone knows how to play piano, right?
Well, I think in a lot of ways it's more of like, yeah, well, my mother can play, so why wouldn't I be able to play? Right? I
Exactly.
think it's just more like that, right? So
So Seto insists to Saki, his mother, that we have to turn Kosei into a pianist though. So this is kind of a
yep,
big moment where like Seto is the actual catalyst for him to becoming pianist though. So
yeah,
he walks on
yep,
stage alone and he wants to prove to everyone how great Kaori is, even if she is not there, right? Because he's mad that Mike talked down to Kaori.
yeah,
I really love this piece. Oddly enough, it's called Love Solo. This is like a really beautiful musical piece. I really love this
yeah,
piece here. That is
yeah.
that
So
is
do I.
praised.
Like I said, I love this one here. It's where do I have this one placed? I think fourth. I think it's my fourth favorite over. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, I think it's my fourth. The
The
fourth
problem
favorite
is there's so many
performance.
good ones. I'm just like,
I know.
oh, but that one's good. Oh
I
wait,
know.
no, this one's
I know.
also good. Yeah, yeah, they really chose like really good classical pieces to like showcase. To just showcase in this anime, like just really really good ones, honestly.
Yeah.
Just so,
So
yeah.
yeah, so he
Continue.
starts playing the piece. So he starts playing the piece on his own, and there comes a moment where he starts to lose the music, and he's realizing that
Okay.
he's not playing it the way that he's supposed to, and he starts getting a little bit more flashbacks. So I will say they do start showcasing this a little bit more, especially in this later half where he's starting to remember the happy memories of his mother. So he's remembering a bit more of his happy flashbacks with his mother actually, the lullaby aspect of the song. Um and those kind of things and like, why do you play this song? Like there's love sorrow and then there's another one. Why do you always play this one? And I like how she says is like she's preparing him for sorrow as an answer because obviously
Yeah.
she's in a wheelchair and she knows this, right? So
hmm And I really thought this was great too because as he starts getting these good
warm.
memories like of her, like these warm memories, the
Yeah,
sounding of his like pianos change, right? And
yeah,
like you can just hear it start, like the sound is different, it's resonating more with the sorry, with the like the audience, right? And as they're
yeah,
listening to this, right, he was able to let go of love sorrow in essentially in his heart, which is great because it's a great tie-in with the piece and what's happening in the story, right? And
yeah,
he was able to truly break free from his mom and was able to learned to about being becoming a happy pianist in this moment though. And we see Saki crying, like we get a little flashback of Saki crying on her deathbed, essentially worrying about a future, like how Kosi's future is going to be without her,
yeah,
just the typical
yeah.
things that like any
Well,
mother
you
who
get a bit,
like it's
of Seto. You get a bit of Seto too, because she's also remembering Saki in the moment as well, because she's listening to the piece and she's like, "That's Saki. Like Saki's there.
Mhm.
Like I can feel her there." And you start getting that other side where she's remembering the moments after Kosi ran away from being hit by his mother, and then the anger she had towards Saki, and then the reasoning behind it, and her panic and fear about the whole scenario, and then like you said, they carry on with um, her worrying about how is he going to make a living and those kind of things.
And at the end here, he can genuinely start feeling happy that his mom is always going to be with him. And I thought this was
Yeah,
like a really good, it's like you're not always going to have good times with your parents, right? But it's like you need to treasure more of the good moments than you do of the bad moments. You know what I mean? Because they're your
yeah,
parents. There's no book on being a parent. You just, they are doing what they think is the best for you
yeah, yeah.
most of
Well,
most
and I think in a lot
parents.
of ways for him, I think in a lot of ways for him, it's just like I said, it's his final goodbye of just letting go of his feelings, right?
hmm
Like he's finally making peace with everything around his mother, which again I thought it was a nice touching goodbye. So the crowd again, like I find it's interesting his reactions because I see other performers when they perform extremely well, where they get immediate reactions. Like when he's performing with Kaori, they got an immediate reaction. When Emmy's performing or Takashi's performing, immediate responses. With him, they're just stunned by like they're stunned with how to feel because they're taking in all of his emotion and they're
hmm
feeling all the energy and
Exactly.
they're just stunned. They're just sitting there and they're just like, wow,
Well,
like I don't.
a lot of the songs Kosei also plays throughout the anime is like they're more gentle and like more
Yeah,
emotion driven song, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Love Sorrow, like you could feel the sorrow, right? So it's just like it's almost like people are wanting to hear more of it because they're understanding more of his story just through his music. And I think that's what makes it so powerful.
yeah.
I think it's really good. And like yeah, so Mike gets up on stage afterwards and now he is shaken, right? Because he's like,
I
oh my
gotta
god,
follow
like
this.
I have to follow this.
Yeah.
But I thought this was great symbolism because it showed his mom in the audience like praying, and so it helped him gain the courage to finish praying and stuff like that. So I thought that was like a really, really, really good.
And they also take note to one of the judges had actually take note that he was actually performing his violin softer. And he
Hmm.
says it looks like his performance pierced your heart too.
Yeah. And it's actually funny because we'll get to Mige much later on, but
Yeah.
I love what he said at the end where he was like, "Oh yeah, those are just amateurs." I
Yeah.
can't wait to get to that point. That point is hilarious. But no, yeah, in the next scene, Tsubaki is just having trouble kind of talking to Kosei, like feeling like now he's in another world from her. And Tsubaki hurries into the music room and kind of sees Kosei, and they hurry to the hospital. And at the end of the episode, you kind of Subaki's like rushing Kosei, like, "Oh my god, something happened to Kaori again," right? So that's kind of where this
Well,
episode
you hear her say blankly like something like blah blah blah. Like you don't really hear it, it's just
you
movement,
don't know
right?
yet.
And then they
Yeah.
run off, and then we just see Kaori in the hospital again as the episode ends.
Mhm. So yeah, episode 14 starts right up with the three of them arriving to talk to Kaori, and she said she
Yep.
feels great, though she makes note that she fell and hit her head, and she's always gotten tired easily, right? But lately she's been expending a lot more energy. Uh, Again, Watari gives her like a ton of books, and she makes a note. She's like, "I don't have time to read all of these." So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there's just yeah, there's just a lot going on. There's a lot to
Well,
be
and
kind of.
especially with the
Mhm,
next scene, it adds to the whole mystery of her and how serious everything is.
mhm.
Because as everyone's leaving, a nurse comes by and it's like, have your friends gone? Like, have your friends left yet? And she says yes, and she goes, okay, so shall we start? And you can see her like with the medical cart, and she said, yeah, we can start my IVs again. So it's basically like
Yeah.
she was delaying her treatments in a way to kind of downplay the seriousness of the actual of what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, so then we see Tsubaki's having a conversation, and she's with her friend, and she's saying that Saito had asked her to go to a festival, and her friend is
Mhm.
curious, like, why haven't you broken up with him yet? And
Yeah.
and then we see um, Tsubaki meeting up with Saito as at the festival while Kosei is visiting Kaori in the hospital.
And all the while, like her thoughts are just completely consumed by Kosei, like just all the time.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like so, even though she's with Saito, she just keeps talking about Kosei and Kosei this and Kosei that, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
So we see Kaori is making fun of him about, what a loser you are performing. Like, who does that? Like, you perform without the violin. It's like, what are you doing? And she's like joking around, and she's going through about the performance and processing, and those kind of things. He stumbles about, somebody insulted you, so I couldn't really turn away from that, right? Um, and then as he's running through, he's getting like flashbacks, like seeing her, and it's almost like a black and white snap to his mother, and then back to her, and then it's like this back and forth where he's starting to get more of the imagery of his mother and his mother's sickness in her, and he's starting to
mhm.
question like whether she's lying about her tests and whether she's actually going to be coming back, and if they're actually going to be able to play again.
And she kind of dodges the question by like making lighthearted jokes and stuff like that, and talking
Yeah,
about the performance and stuff like that. So
yeah.
uh, yeah, she didn't really give much of an answer here to him, really. So next we get the small backstory of Kosei and Tsubaki. And she talks about, oh yeah, like this scene like didn't really matter in my opinion. Like I just
It's again, it's
it was
showcasing
just
her inner feelings in a certain
yeah.
sense.
Mhm.
So it's showcasing, and it's starting to build towards her revealing her feelings. So for her, because she's dealing with a lot of her stuff with, Kosei as a younger was, his mother was so harsh with him, she couldn't play with him because he had music. She couldn't, do these things with him because he had music. She couldn't there's a lot of moments that were taken away from them early on because of the fact that he had music and music lessons in this, right? So for her, you start to see a flashback of her covering her ears during music class because and starting to really hate music because she feels like it's taking him away from her, right? Um, so then we see Watori talking with her friend about the whole Tsubaki and Kosei situation, and Watori says she needs to figure it out. I know her. She's stubborn. She's so stubborn and set in her own ways that you can't tell her these things. She needs to actually figure it out on her own.
So yeah, again we get another thing with Tsubaki talking about Kosei with Seito, and so then Kosei and Tsubaki go out for popsicles, and she kind of makes a note, and she makes a note now that his lights are lighting up, because in the beginning of the anime, she said, "Oh, your eyes don't sparkle," but now she's making a note something's changed, something is making your light sparkle.
Yeah.
And then he makes notes. He's like, "I'm gonna go to music high school," and she starts crying and run away because she's tired.
Yeah.
She's sick and tired of music taking him away from her, right?
Yeah. Now, I know at the early part of this, we get she gets excited in this whole situation, right? So she's thinking back to something her friend had said during a conversation where she asked her, "Do you like Saito?" And she says, "Well, I don't dislike him." And her friend says, "Well, like and don't dislike are miles apart. What is it?" So as Tsubaki's initially walking, she's going dislike, like, dislike, and she's going back and forth in her head. And as she's looking down, and she kind of looks up as she says and she sees Kosei running towards her, beelining it towards her, and he grabs a hold of her, and he's kind of showing concern because her friend had basically called him and said that she was in trouble. So he rushes over and he's asking her "Is your?" he's in a panic.
Okay?
Yeah. Do you have a stomach flu? Do you have what's going on? What's going on? So then that's when it's like that excitement for her because she's like, "Whoa, wait a minute! He actually was showing concern for me, right?" And then that's when they go off on their walk along the beach to have the popsicle, right? So it's like her moment for her, and then she's kind of really starting in this moment as she's running off crying. She kind of slows down and she has a moment where she's slowing down and she stops. And she's finally coming to terms with, at least early on, her actually starting to recognize that she actually does have feelings for him.
Hi.
And then that's when the episode ends. And then we jump into episode 15.
Which kind of continues a little bit about Tsubaki.
A little bit more of the backstory.
Talking, talking to his teacher about his future plans, and I really don't like Tsubaki here because I think her jealousy is just completely awful, right? She's just I hate music, and you love Kosei, right? She loves Kosei, but the one thing that he is good at and he loves and he's been doing his whole life, you hate.
Yep.
You can't tell me that would be a good mix for she will never like music because it keeps taking him away from her.
Yeah.
And I hope it continues to do that for the rest of his life. So she continues to reflect on this as she's walking home with Saito, and he's just he basically makes noise listen, there's this girl I like, and you always just talk about Kosei, it was fun while we were dating, but he breaks up with her essentially, right?
Yeah, and he basically says I was serious about you, but obviously this isn't working out, right? So
yeah,
and that's kind of it.
She goes to meet Kosei in the music room, and while he's playing, she's trying to get his attention and trying to talk to him, and he's just I'm no good with words, I'm only good with music, right? And again, I don't like Tsubaki here. She's fishing for attention because she's just I just got dumped, like, shouldn't you be, like, paying more attention to me sort of thing? It's like, I really don't like her character here at all. And trust me, it
Yeah.
gets way worse from here, which is not a good look for this character at all.
Yeah, so
But,
she initially goes into the music room, and again, I get the whole imagery. She's supposed to be feeling like nostalgic about Kosei, right? And then
hi,
she starts playing a little bit on her own before he sits down and starts to play for her as like almost like a way to comfort her. And
hi,
she starts to cry and she starts talking about her feelings a bit before she starts yelling at him. She's like, "Look, you're always about the music." It's like again, she's just venting her frustration, right? She's like,
hi.
you're all about, the music, and you're all about everything. Like, this is it. Like, you could comfort me. Like, I just got dumped, kind of thing, right? Like you said. Um, and then they just kind of keep playing. It's funny because like he stops and he tries to like comfort her, and then she's just like, "I don't want this. I don't like. What do you? Why are you being so nice to somebody who just got dumped?" So like, it's like I get this like wishy-washy attitude, and
e-
he's like whatever,
Exactly. Yeah.
and he just starts
He's like,
playing
I'm
again,
not
right?
gonna. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm done with this. Like, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
kind of thing.
waste my time with this sort of thing. So in the next scene, it kind of shows Emmy doing really well doing like a performance. It was like really quick
Yeah,
thing, nothing really like major. And
yeah,
then Kosei thinks about visiting Kaori, but he sees like a bunch of bad omens, so he heads home instead. Like he sees a crow, he sees a black cat, like just silly little things like that. And I do like some of these little light-hearted, like city moments once in a while to kind of, like I
yeah,
said before, like break the tension and stuff like that. So I thought that was cute. And so yeah, his bad luck continues to run. He continues to get more bad luck. But then it's revealed that there's like a girl like trying almost like setting up these little bad omens for him. But she falls out of a tree, and Kosei takes her to Seto's house. And when she wakes
yeah,
up, she's like, "Oh, are you Seto?" And then like she's a really big fan, and she's also a
yeah,
pianist, and her name is Nagi. So, like, if you want to talk a little bit more about our little blonde pianist friend.
yeah. So Nagi immediately like latches on to Sato and like begs her to teach her. Um, and so she turns and says, "Okay, well maybe you can convince me by playing the piano. Like, go play. Let me hear what you got," kind of thing, right? So
Hmm.
she goes over and she plays a piece, and after the end of it, she turns around and she's kind of like, "Well, what do you think?" kind of thing, right? Almost like in a smug way, like, "Yeah, clearly I'm gonna win," kind of thing, right? And Seto
Well,
says, "All right,
mm,
yeah, go ahead."
well, she plays the song that Kosei played, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
uh, mhm, sorry.
So Seto basically says that, "Okay, so here's what's gonna happen. Kosei, you're gonna teach her."
Hi.
He's kind of like, "Wait, what?" So next we see Kosei goes and gets a gift for Kaori, and he goes to visit her in the hospital. So as he's right by the door to go inside, he hears Watsuri in there, and he just decides to leave
Hmm.
because he's like, I don't want to be a third wheel, right? Like I want to give them their alone time because in his head he's still running with the lie that this is who she likes. Like, I don't like her. She's with him. I don't want to come between them. They're together, kind of thing, right? And it's his own little make believe kind of world that, oh, I don't care about her like that. We're just friends, even though like everyone knows this. So we
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
yeah, I was gonna say next we see Kaori calling to yell at him about not visiting her.
And he like kind of thinks of this is where he kind of first uses like not really much the word love, but like more like
Yeah,
admiration in a sense. It was like,
yeah,
oh, she kind of reminds me of a cat. Like when I don't give her attention, she wants me to be there. When I give her attention, she pushes me away, sort of thing.
yeah,
And now at the ending of the episode, we see Kaori walking through the halls at the hospital, and she collapses, and her legs stop working, and she
yeah.
gets frustrated, and she screams at the end of the
Well,
episode, and
and she
like,
starts hitting her legs. She's like punching her legs because she's like
yeah, like
she wants
work.
it to work, right? Yeah,
Yeah, she's like, work. You're supposed to like you're supposed to like walk, and you're supposed to support me and stuff like that. Like, why aren't you
yeah,
working? Like, just getting very frustrated and screams in like I said, frustration at the ending of this episode. So
Yeah.
you can just, as the anime is going on, her condition is not getting better. So
Yeah.
episode 16 starts with Kose giving pointers to Nagi during a lesson, and she says that the music score is like a god and we're all just servants. Again, I like how all of these people, all of these younger people who are playing like instruments, right? They saw Kose probably play at some point, and they were oh my god, that kid is playing it like perfect, like, with the score.
Yeah.
So like now they all have this idea that the score is a god and you have to follow it, like basically
Well,
being like a
it also
robot
doesn't help.
again too.
Well, it also
Mm.
doesn't help that that's what all the competition is judged on, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just how accurate you are. That's literally it, right? So
But it's interesting too because now Kose's opinion on this is changed, right?
yeah.
Because he met Kaori. Um, so yeah, I thought like it's neat to see his perspective on everything changing slowly as the anime goes on.
Yeah. So yeah, so she's basically talking about her. He's trying to coach her, and she's talking about her struggle because she says she has smaller hands, so it's harder for her to kind of move along, right? And he's giving her tips, and he's showing her how to do it. He says, just slide your wrists, and like he's showing her how to do it. And in her head, she's starting to like, okay, I got to get back at him. I want to do something. So you can see her like moving her hand up to like the cupboard for the keys, and she's looking to slam it down on him on his hands.
Mhm.
And then basically Seto kind of speaks up, and she immediately stops her plans in her track. Um, and then you see Kosei walking, and he's thinking about visiting her, and he's looking up, and the leaves are falling because it's now fall, and the colors have changed, and they're falling. And then he looks over, and he sees that Kaori's outside, and she's by the school. So she's now here.
Yeah, and she's waiting for Watari, but because he isn't around, she's like, okay, well, you have to be the substitute again, right? So they go shopping, and he's carrying all these things. I think it's like, she buys like cute stuff, like stuffed animals, stationery,
Clothes,
just
stuffed
little
animals.
things like
Yeah.
that, clothes, exactly.
Yeah.
And they help a lost child, just like all these like classic like, little cliches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when Kose tries to hand Kaori a drink, she drops it, right? Like, so there's kind of something going on with like her muscles, right?
Yeah.
The but he notices that she's in her uniform, and he's like, oh well, she must have went to school today because she's in her uniform. So that's good because like at least like okay, maybe she's not as sick as I think she is, right? Because she went to
Yeah.
school today. And then she's like, oh, but she didn't have her bag. Like, where's your bag, right? So
Yep.
they go back to the school here, right?
Yeah, because she says, "Oh, I must have left it at the school," kind of thing, right? And then she asks him to go get it with her. This is one of the anime tropes I've never understood. Like, answer me this: like, are all the high schools unlocked at night? Can you just go wandering
No,
around the high schools?
you cannot. There's no high school that like. Okay, okay. I have never tried, so but I doubt it. I doubt you can just like students can just go to the school at night, right? So
Yeah, yeah. So before we get to that part where they're at the school, um, Nagi
it
is
shows
complaining.
Nagi. Hi, yeah,
Yeah,
that it's like sorry.
I was gonna say she's complaining that he's late for the lesson, and Seito says he's not coming.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And
you see
Seto's kind
Seito.
of like
Yep.
he's not coming, but like he's still a teen. He's still like a young boy. Like I want him to have fun too, right?
Mhm.
Like he can't always just be all work. Like I want him to finally be happy, is what she says, right?
Yep.
And
And
then
she
yeah,
takes
so
note. I was gonna say, so Seto takes note as Nagi's trying to be sweet with her. So she says, like, I don't know what your angle is,
Mhm.
and she's like, but if you put him in danger, I'll kill you myself.
Yeah, I thought this was an it. I thought that was an it. Yes, honestly,
she
I
she
was like, yeah,
basically,
that's right. Good.
and then Nagi says, she's like, "Oh, that Kosei is really love," and Sato says, "Well, yeah, he's my son." He makes note that he's like a son to her, right? Um, and then she asks her, she's like, "Why would you take on a student then that's like his enemy?" And then she was like, "Well, I figured it would give him something to do, take his mind off and give him something other than sorrow." And she's like, he's had enough of that in his life, and I really want him to be a happy pianist.
Exactly.
And then this is where they show them at the school.
Mhm. And they're walking around, and he's like, "Oh yeah, so where's your bug?" And so this is when she's like, "I don't have my bug," and then so he's like, "So you lied to me," and she's like, "It's not at the school, right?" Um, but she said that they let her out just for the day, right? And she asked, "Is he going to forget about spending a time with a girl he likes?" He promises, and then he promises her he won't forget, right?
Yeah.
And she thanks him for the day together, and then Kaori starts crying, right? And this is when they're heading home, I believe, right?
Yeah, so she's on the back of the
The
bike,
bike,
and
mhm.
yeah, because he
Which
borrows the
again,
school bike, I guess.
they yeah, I don't know where they keep getting these bicycles from, and also you can't be on two-person on a single bike in
Yeah,
in Japan. It's like against the, it's actually
yeah.
against the law,
Well, that's what she says.
which is
She kind
funny.
of points that out too.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so she starts to cry, and then he makes note saying he wanted to ask her the reasons for her tears, but he couldn't end up. He
Yeah,
couldn't end up doing it. And then we see Kosei's in lessons with Nagi, and again he's showing her how to play a part, and she starts running through her head different scenarios where she like slams the piece down on his hands and pokes him in the eye, and then you
mhm.
can kind of hear Seto like
You
she
see
almost
like
like
her
can tell she's
face.
scheming, yeah,
Yeah,
and then she
exactly.
starts to like
Hmm.
kind of like kind of thing, and then she's like, oh god. So Nagi runs off as he's really pointing out her mistakes, and
Yeah,
Seto
Nagi also
basically,
too here thinks like that Kosei hates her. Like, why
yeah,
is he so hard on me, sort of thing.
yeah. So as she sees him running off, Seto basically tells him, go after her. This is your job as her teacher. Kind of
Hmm.
like get going, kind of thing, right? So he ends up going and finding her. She's sitting by on the steps of a shrine, heading up to a shrine,
Hmm.
and he comes over with a peace offering of a sweet potato. And then they start going
I,
back and forth a little bit with their conversation, which was it was
yeah,
it was
he
nice.
apologizes because like listen, I've never really taught anyone before too,
Yeah,
right? So, and she talks about play like the reason why she wants to play piano. She's playing for someone, like she's playing for someone else, right? And
yeah,
this is like what you said. They kind of talk a little bit about back and forth, like why do you play? Why do you play? And then he's like, he kind of makes note about some of the things that Kaori has taught him, right? Like
yeah.
just playing with
But he's not saying who it is,
sincerity.
kind of thing, right?
No, he
Yeah,
didn't say who it is,
yeah,
right? And she doesn't either, right? Because it's kind of like a small flashback where you see
yeah,
Takeshi like running up the same steps. So
yeah.
um,
So
she's
yeah, so as
playing.
I was gonna
Sorry.
say, they're playing a little game.
Yeah, I like this little game where like they do rock paper scissors and then they say a word and then they climb the steps of like the word, like the amount of
The letters for the
letters the
words.
word is. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
cute little thing.
So she's basically starts asking him questions, and she's asking him like, "Is there somebody he likes?" And he says no. And then she basically calls him a liar. She's like, "You're lying." She's like, "It's written all over your face."
Hi.
And then he says he's like he has a friend of his that he likes, but that she likes his best friend. So it's kind of
Hmm.
like there's no point to it, right?
Yeah.
And she makes a note of it saying, "Well, is that really a good enough reason to give up on her?" And
I
then
love how they just had like every single character just have at least one like really good quotable line in
yeah,
this anime. like this anime is really good teaching you like there's just so much good stuff, like just so many great quotes in this
I
anime.
know.
It's amazing. So
So we see him. He's kind of like explaining all of the good qualities of Kaori to her,
mhm.
kind of thing, right? And while he's doing this, we're kind of seeing a little bit of flashbacks where it's just like just more of like the imagery where like her parents are talking with the doctors and you see Kaori at night. She's holding her violin bow and then she drops it because she's no longer able to kind of hold on to it. So again, like you said, it's the enhancement of her motor skills are starting to kind of diminish.
Deteriorate.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now
Uh,
they're all in the hospital now, right? Oh, sorry, were you done?
now I was just gonna say you just see her scolding him for not bringing her cannolis.
Yeah. So here Kosei also reveals that he's teaching someone, and like, yeah, like you said, Kari goes off on him for not practicing enough, and then we kind of see Nagi and a little bit more of her perspective, where her friends make note that her playing is sounding different, like
Yep.
almost like who's teaching you sort of thing, and then this is where you see Nagi go home. That was just like a small, short, like little bite-sized like life of Nagi, and then we see her go
Yep.
home, and it's revealed that she is Takeshi's younger sister. But we,
Yep.
as the audience, we kind of knew that. They just like really
Yep.
confirmed it.
Yep.
And Kosei is being reminded of his mother as he sees Kaori in the hospital. A little bit more of that, and then so Kaori. The ending of this episode is like really like we gotta be
She's
careful here.
realizing. So for
Yeah.
herself, she's realizing things are serious. So you kind of get a little bit of more of her emotional side of things when she's yelling at Kosei earlier on, because she's really going at him about like you don't have time, you're wasting your time, like stop flirting with the girl, like you're wasting your time, like you need to focus. And then she almost in a way blurts out like I'm not going to be around, and then she kind of
Yeah.
like stops,
Like I don't have the
right?
time.
I
Something
don't
like
have the
that.
time, and she kind of like stops, like she holds herself back, and then she starts to cry. She just starts bawling,
Yeah.
right? So in this moment here at the end, she's basically realizing she's at the end herself. Like she knows she doesn't have much time, and she's kind of in a way given up on it. And she basically asks him, "Would you like to come with me out of this world?"
Yeah.
Essentially,
You want to
without
take your
saying
shoes off with
exactly,
me? It's like,
yeah.
right?
And basically, why don't we go out together, if you will?
Hide.
Um, and then again, it starts with episode 17 with her, asking the question again, and then he pauses. He's almost like stunned by the question to really kind of speak or really kind of even think about it, right? Because it just came out of nowhere, just all of a sudden, right? And then that's when immediately she just goes, "Oh, I'm just kidding. I really just wanted to say it," kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
I just had to get it out.
that's not the thing you just said.
I know.
So yeah, Tsubaki tries to get Kosei to go to the hospital, but now he's starting to get depressed again because now uh, he's letting all like
It's back to his
blah,
mother.
blah.
He feels he's
Exactly.
back in the same
Hmm.
situation with his mother, right? Because he's like, somebody again that I love, somebody again that's dear to me, is in the exact same position. They're sick.
And but
Something serious is happening, right?
yeah, and when he's practicing, he's just off. And then
Yeah,
Sato's like, okay, you're clearly not, your head's not in it today. Like, just go home earlier and practice. And I kind of like this too because now Nagi kind of comes and like comforts him a little bit and like talks to him on swings. And I really like this conversation that they have
yeah,
together. Um, so yeah,
yeah. And then we see Watsuri is waiting for him, and he basically says like outside of school, like he's walking through the halls now at school,
mhm,
and he says, "Look, we're gonna go see Kaori at the hospital, and I really think you should come visit." And he kind of starts to explain a little bit of what happened, more of like things were kind of said, and I don't really know how to act. I don't really know what to say when I see her, right? Like I
yeah,
just don't know what to do, right? And
right.
he's in tears himself at this moment, right?
Yeah,
And
he's having his like complete mental
his
breakdown.
own
Like,
little,
I don't know if I
yeah,
can do this anymore. Like,
yeah, and and,
yeah,
and Watsuri basically says like, look, you need to go see her, and he's like, look. anytime she needed somebody to lean on, anytime she needed to rely on somebody, anytime she wanted somebody to be there, she was always leaning on you.
Mhm.
And again, like you see with so he says again, he's like, look, I don't know what to say to her. And he says, well, you know what? You'll figure it out when you get there. Like you'll
Yeah.
figure it out when you're there and you see her, right? Um, and he ends up going to, and there's a moment where the two of them are alone, and she tells him to basically, press the reset. You can go ahead and press the reset button, and you can just forget about me. Like
Yeah.
it's just not worth remembering me.
Yeah, like forget that you ever met me, just hit reset. It's that easy sort of thing.
Yeah, and of course he
And
gets angry.
yeah, he gets angry and then he also feels like he starts feeling regret because like he's like I haven't been able to give her anything in return for what she has done for me sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So he
So
starts
not
thinking about it as he leaves. Like you can see him cooking ideas. Like there's something I have to be able to do, right? Um,
so Nagi, we see a little bit of Nagi's perspective too now because now she has a lot of pressure to perform well at her school events, right? People are like, oh, people are coming to just see you, and you're gonna be the main star of the show this year and stuff like that. So she is getting all this pressure, right? And it's
and
revealed
and
that
she
her and
and she doesn't
Kos.
fully, and even herself, she doesn't even fully know what she's going to do as a performance. Like she
Mhm.
hasn't even decided yet because they take note of that in class where they're like, well, what are you planning on doing? Like you have all these people coming to see you. Like what do you plan on doing? And she's like, I haven't really thought of it yet. And they kind of basically scold her like, well, you really need to figure that out, right? And so now she's
Yeah.
panicking even more, like you said, because she doesn't even know what she's doing to even stand out, right?
Hi. So it's revealed that her and Kosei are going to be playing a duet though, which is really
Yeah.
really neat.
Well, he basically
Uh,
begs her. He begs
mhm.
her to allow him to perform at the festival with her,
Hi.
and she says yes, but she's questioning him as to why. Like, why would you want to play there? Like, what's your reasoning, right?
Mhm.
And you don't really get an answer right away, and then you just kind of show the two of them preparing.
And then you see Seto kind of talking to Nagi because now Nagi's kind of having her own little mental breakdown here
Yep.
about, and she's like, even when it gets hard and it hurts, the suffering and the pain will all be worth it in the moment you finally perform that piece like perfectly. It's like all the agonizing months of trying to get it right, it will all disappear and it'll be beautiful in the end, sort of
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yep.
So it is now the day of the school festival. I don't really have much more other than Kosei and Nagi get ready. And then Kosei says, just play with sincerity and give the performance of your life with everything you've got, quoting Kaori as they step out onto the stage together.
Yeah. Well, she also takes note because he almost like in a way like holds her hands from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So her hands are like on top and he's underneath, and she takes note that his hands are shaking.
Hi.
And she asks, like, do you get nervous like me? Like, do you have this fear like I do? And that's when he, like you say, he breaks out the Cowrie quote, and then they start to head out.
So episode 18 showcases them walking out onto the stage, and everyone is shocked to see her and Kosei playing. Watari is recording it for Kaori here.
Well, he's on a
And
call. He's actually on a
he's
call
on a
with her.
call. Yeah,
Yeah, and
exactly. He's
she's
on
listening
recording
on
it
the
here.
other end in the hospital.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I just want to say that I really, really love the song.
Yeah, so do I.
Was it Sleeping Beauty Waltz by
Yeah.
Tchaikovsky? It's fantastic. I love, I love, I love this piece. I know I said it before, but this is definitely either my favorite piece or my second favorite piece in the entire anime.
This is like my third. This is like
It's
my third
so
favorite piece.
so good.
Yeah, well, I was telling you, like I love this. This is my third favorite piece out of the whole thing. I really really enjoy this one.
I didn't really have much because they were just kind of showcasing a little bit of their emotion and a little bit of some of the backstory on the steps on how they got to this like point that we kind of already covered. It was
Yeah,
just a
it's
good
just
performance, and they were hoping that the music they produced was able to
would reach the
the
people they
ones
wanted.
they wanted. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So
The only other like little thing is you can hear Kaori is kind of like in her own feeling hearing the two of them playing, because you see her getting up and she's mimicking. She's not
yeah,
holding her violin; she's mimicking the violin.
mimicking it type.
Yeah, as she's listening, right? And then as the performance ends, you see the tears coming down to her, streaming down her face.
And then after the performance, it's Kosei realizes that Takashi is her older brother, and I think this moment was pretty funny because there's like a little misunderstanding of how Nagi kind of introduced herself, where Kosei didn't really pick up what she said,
Yeah.
so he never made that connection between
To be
them
fair,
being brother and sister.
even if he recognized her last name, like I don't even think he would have pieced it together anyways.
No,
Because like again,
no,
it's like back to that whole like I really just don't know who you are, right? It's like
exactly.
it's like that
You were
whole
a
feeling,
girl.
right?
You were a girl who just fell out of a tree, sort of, right? Like
Yeah.
if you think back to what their actual like
Well,
meeting
that's just
was
it. But
like.
even
So
with Takashi, he wouldn't
hmm
know. He like
he
he said
still
their
like
first
doesn't
meeting again. He's like,
really
I don't know who
know.
you are. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the thing, right?
yeah.
So, um, then we see after their little back and forth, we see that Mike comes over and starts talking to Nagi at school,
hmm
and he's really like questioning her and
this is
like
hilarious too.
going on and on about what's your relationship with Kosei, like what is he to you, like
He's like,
this jealous girlfriend.
and well, with Takashi, right? He's like, oh yeah, Nagi's like, he's taught me all sorts of things.
Oh
I've
yeah,
had brand new
so many
experiences, and he's just
experiences.
like, what?
Wait,
It's hilarious. But yeah,
yeah,
I love how Mike is a Kosei fan now, right? Like he
yeah,
talked down to Kaori and he didn't really like Kosei, but yeah, he completely became a Kosei fan after that performance that Kosei put on
yeah,
a
yeah,
few episodes ago. But then Kosei visits Kaori in the hospital, and you see her playing on the roof with the girls. That
Mm.
I'm pretty sure they're the same girls that gave her the flowers, and the same girl she was playing hopscotch with, right?
I think yeah, it's
Yeah.
the same.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And she was like, how cruel of you to make me listen to classical music knowing that I can't play. And Kosei asks her to perform with him one more time.
yeah,
And like this part like started to get to me because she was like, you're cruel for asking me to dream one more time. And she's like, I'm going to dream one more time of having a waltz with him again. And it's just
yeah.
like, cause like she gave him the energy to go and play again, and now the roles
Now
are
he's
like
returning the favor.
reversed. Exactly.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and like he's thinking like this would be a good, almost like a way I can kind of repay her too for everything she's done for me, sort of thing.
yeah.
And that's kind
Yeah.
of where that episode ended. I don't know if you want to add a little bit more there.
No, no, that's pretty much where that goes. Um, so then episode 19 starts with she's talking with the doctor, and the doctor is kind of going over the risks of the surgery with her. You kind of get the tail end of that conversation, right? And she basically says, like, look, I've already talked this over with my parents, and we decided this is what we want to do, right? Um, and then you hear Kosei kind of playing. He's practicing his piece, and Kaori's listening over the phone, and she's getting mad at him again because of his lazy performance.
Hi.
And again, this is where things really start to get a little bit more insufferable. So we see Sabaki; she's kind of like studying with her friend, and they're talking. She's talking about like how she wants to go and get into her preferred school, kind of thing, right? Or no, she just shows her studying because she's trying to really get into her preferred school, and you see her like her grades are actually improving, and people are like they're taking note of it. They're like, oh, okay, what's going on? Like, why is the gorilla getting such good grades? So you see her kind of like skipping to go to, she's kind of like in a way like showing off. Like I'm so proud of this kind of thing, right? Um, and then we see Kosei going to visit Kaori at the hospital, and she's not in her room. So he goes outside, and now he's panicking. Like he's running through like the negative, like what if something happened? What if something, worse? What if her, situation worsened? And he's kind of running through all these emotions when her parents like basically. So like her parents see and like grab a hold of him, right? Um, and he says, "Oh, I can't find her, and I can't find her anywhere." And they say, "Oh, okay. If that's the case, then we know exactly where she is."
Yeah, and we see practicing walking again with a like physical therapist trying to regain her strength. And her mom said that her willingness to try so hard is all because of you, right?
Yeah, she basically points notes. She's like, "Look, like she had all but given up, and now she's trying again." And he said, "Well, I didn't do anything." And her father makes note saying, "No, that's right. You didn't. It was all you did was show her devotion." And then
Yeah.
she kind of like explains the feelings about like you hear her explaining like the feelings of eating kosei and how he asked her to perform and like you hear like they're talking about the whole scenario, right? Like there was a guy who he asked me to perform again, and I really want to be on stage with him again, and like she's talking to the doctor again, right? And she's basically saying like she's gonna struggle until the very end to make sure it happens. And I like
So
this line from her father near the end because he says that her heart was gray and you gave it color again.
yeah, hi.
Yeah.
This next scene was stupid and completely pointless. Like the scene with Tsubaki going over to give Kosei a haircut, I thought was the dumbest. Like there was no
Well, it
reason
wasn't
for
to
it
give him
at
a
all.
haircut. It wasn't to give him a haircut.
Okay, it was to
It
check
was
in on him and
food.
give him food. Yeah, because his
Yeah,
mom,
so
her
so
mom
Tsubaki was
said,
talking. Well, her Tsubaki was talking with her friend and
mm,
basically saying how Kosei needs to do well in the competition. She's like, well, Kosei's like trying too hard. Like I hear him all the time. He's like performing late into the night and stuff. And her friend basically explains why, because she's like, look, like the school he's going into, it relies like the entrance relies heavily on your achievements. Like,
mhm,
how much fame can you bring our school, essentially? And she's like,
hi,
and given the fact that he's taken off 2 years, he doesn't have
mhm,
any achievements. So she's like, this competition is almost like his last chance to really grab something. And since this is such a prestigious event, it's a great way for him to actually get into the school that he wants to get into. So she's kind of like explaining all of this stuff, right? And she basically says like, look, you need to stop being jealous of the music, and you need to support him.
hi.
And she's like, since he's staying up late, you should take him over food.
I just don't think it.
So she goes and she does it. She listens. She takes him food, and she
Hi.
sees him pass out on the floor. And as she picks him up, she takes note. She's like, "Look, your hair is a mess. She's like, you can't perform with your hair looking like this." And she's like, "Look, sit down. I'll cut it." She's like, "Look, I cut my own hair." She's like, "I used to cut your hair when we were young. Like, just deal with it, kind of thing, right?" And then you kind of see her.
I just don't care.
You see that they're going into the night, and she's cutting his hair, kind of thing, right? And she makes note
Hi.
that it's adding an extra memory for them, right? Um, so then we see Kaori. She goes to therapy, and the guy says, "Oh, you're early." He's like, "Normally you usually wait for a call from the guy with glasses." And she says, "Oh, he's not coming today." And then you see that the competition has started.
So you see, Kosei is at the competition, and he's kind of talking to Emi and Takashi here. I don't really have much to say about their conversation. Maybe
There isn't any. But literally, he's
yeah,
eating an egg
this is kind of
sandwich. He's
yeah.
eating an egg sandwich. She sits beside him. He hands her a sandwich and then brags about how good the sandwich is. And then Takashi does the same. He comes over, he offers him a
Exactly.
sandwich, and he brags how good the sandwiches are. That's literally it. There's not much. And then Takashi basically gets called that it's his time to kind of head out.
Yeah, and you don't really see a lot of the performance. So you just kind of
It's kind of like the tail end of the
showcase like the
performance,
tail end of
essentially.
it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's obviously clear that he plays really, really well. And you kind of see the story of him chasing his dreams of beating Kosei, like wanting his
yeah,
acknowledgement, right? Like we talked
yeah.
about earlier. And then you
Yeah.
see Nagi cheering for her brother, but she's like, "Oh wait, but no, Kosei's also playing." So she's kind of like, "Oh, I want them
Oh,
to both do well." Like, oh, it's such a cliche.
yeah. So you see Emmy and Corsair basically going to meet him as he finishes. So they were performing two songs, from
Mhm,
what I can see.
mhm.
And
Hi.
then as he comes through, they pick him up and they start walking. And he basically tells Kosei, he's like, "Don't mess up because I'm gonna crush you in the finals." And then so Kosei and Emmy start making fun of him, going, "Yeah, that's if you make it after that shaky second performance you did." Like you
Yeah,
probably
they're
should have
like,
just led with your first song that you did. Like you should
yeah,
have
you should
ended it
have
with the
ended
first
with
song.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So like the crowd wasn't into it because of how well you did the first song.
Hmm.
And then
And
at the
that's
end,
kind of where
well,
it
at the end, it
ends.
takes note. At the end, it takes note that Takashi is like in his own way. This was like his goodbye to his hero,
Hi. Yeah. Hmm.
right? And then that's where that ends, and then we start with episode 20, which a lot. It's Tsubaki heavy.
It is. So again, you see Tsubaki getting old bees, and now she goes to brag to Kosei about him in the music room. But he isn't there, and so the crowd is like, oh, the class is like, oh yeah, okay, it's definitely love. Like she's
That's
getting
the whole
smart
reason
because
she's
of
like
love,
this, right?
and
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So while him and Watari visit Kosei,
No,
uh, what?
no, not this moment. So Tsubaki is walking
Hmm.
with Kosei to go see Kaori,
Oh,
and
sorry.
They see Watari
There
walking
we
to
go.
the hospital, and then that's when
Yeah,
he tells Tsubaki, "Oh, look, it's going to rain. We should just head home."
that's right. Hmm.
Yeah. And again,
So,
there's a
oh
bunch
yeah,
more
okay.
flashbacks, and there's a bunch more flashbacks.
Yeah, I really don't really want to get into the flashbacks, honestly. They're just
There's a lot of child flashbacks, is all it is. Again, it's just showcasing. It's an attempt to showcase the closeness between Tsubaki and Kosei. So basically, it's almost like in her way, she's thinking back of these moments, and it's like more and more of her feelings starting to be drawn out. Because again, like early on, she's talking about everyone was calling her a gorilla, but Kosei didn't. And then moments where he lost his cat and she was there for him. So again, it's just more of these moments, and as she's thinking back on them, again, it's just more and more of her actual feelings. She's starting to push up to the surface, essentially.
hi.
And then you see them as they're walking home. They're on a bridge, and it starts pouring rain, and then they kind of run off, and they're kind of taking shelter by a vending machine.
Yeah, so here, Tsubaki asks Kosei if he likes Watari,
Yeah.
and he basically,
Wrong anime. Kaori. He doesn't like Watari.
sorry, sorry, I was looking at sorry, I was looking at Watari's on my notes. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. No, Tsubaki asks Kosei if he likes Kaori, not
Yeah.
Watari. And so Kosei's basically saying yes. And
Yeah.
she can't handle it and she snaps. And she's
Yeah.
like, you should just give up on her. She'll never like you. You are no match for Watari. Your only chance at love is to love me. And I absolutely
Yeah.
this like I didn't like Tsubaki before, but this episode cemented my actual hatred
Yeah.
for this character. Like
Yeah.
she, in my opinion, is one of the worst anime characters for like her own story. Like she wants everything. She doesn't care what happens to anyone else as long as she is happy. And I
Yeah.
hate characters like that. She is so self-centered. It's
So
so sad. It's
as she
so
points out
so
her
sad.
feelings,
I
he's kind of taken aback by it because it's almost like in his head, like this is the first time she's ever shared or said anything like this, right?
I
Um, and as he turns to look at her, and he's got like this stunned look on her face, she just bashes him in the shins and runs away.
yeah kicks it. Yeah, kicks him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and then he runs into her at school. And he's like Tsubaki, and then she just turns and runs away, just
yeah.
just
She's kind
basically
of
ignoring
avoiding
him.
him.
Yeah,
exactly.
and then you see her kind of hitting softballs, and she's hitting them towards the music room, basically in anger, right? Um, yeah, and then there's not much. Seto
Oh,
goes to
then we
check
get.
on him.
Mhm. So then we
There's
get
a-
on the way home, Cowdy calls him.
yeah,
And said he doesn't have to show up to the hospital anymore. But then a few minutes later, she calls him and about a plane in the sky, and it's like, isn't it neat that we can see the same plane, like the sky is connected and stuff like that. So
our skies connected together, kind of thing, right? And
Mhm.
he takes note. He's like, well, is that really all you called for?" Like, and then he himself proactively says he wants to go see her.
Yeah.
Um,
And he says like it doesn't matter about the time. I just want to see her, like you said.
yeah,
And
yeah,
he's like, I wonder what this feeling is called. Oh, I think it's called love, right?
yeah. And then you see him. He's walking with Watsuri, and he
Mm-hmm.
basically says like, "Hey, can you wait a minute? There's something I got to tell you." And he basically tells him that he likes Kaori. And
And he's like,
Watsuri is
yeah,
like, "Look, I know."
duh.
He's like, "I know." He's like, "We already knew all this." And
Hi.
then I like it. He says, "He goes, so you're finally ready to duke it out with me." And then
Hi.
they arrive at her room and they see that she's having a major medical emergency.
Mm-hmm. So
And
yeah, you
then
see the nurses and the doctors filling the room.
yeah, and her
And
hand
while
is
they're
kind of like
heading,
flopping down.
yeah. And then while heading home, Kosei sees a cat get hit by a car, and
A
he
black
rushes it to
a
a
black
black
cat.
cat. Mm-hmm. And he rushes it to the vet, but it wasn't able to be saved.
Yeah,
And throughout the entire anime, the black cat is like seen, right? And it's
yeah.
kind of noted that that was Chelsea.
Well,
That's what I
that's what
felt.
it is.
Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
that's what it is because his cat he shows it. Chelsea was a black cat, and he even makes
Yeah,
note, like I said
exactly.
early on when he's feeding, when they're outside of the cafe and he's feeding the cat, that he's like, I had a black cat just like this.
Just like this one. Hi.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's actually the cat that Cowdy was following when the anime opened, like the very beginning. So this
yeah,
black cat has also been just there on their journey too, and it's kind of also like his own inner monologue a little bit earlier
yeah.
on, not so much so in the back half of the anime. But yeah, the black cat is a little bit important. But yeah, when the black cat died, he breaks down and starts crying while trying to like wipe the blood off of his hands at the park,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And like so now he's got like even all these emotions, and like he screams in like agony at the ending of this episode. So
Well,
yeah,
because again,
we are.
he's realizing the severity of Cowley's injury and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and again, it's driving back the memories of his mother, right? And
Exactly.
everything he went through with her, and all the trauma and the grief that he went through with her, right? So again, it's really showcasing all of this. So episode 21 starts with Watori is telling Tsubaki about Kaori and how, what they seen when they went this visit, and that she's in the ICU, and in her own way, like Tsubaki's like, they're all also now like starting to get really the severity of the whole situation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we see Seto trying to get a hold of Kosei, and she ends up going inside, storming in, and she sees him crying on the floor. And she tells him, she's like, "Look, you only have 4 days to practice. Like, you don't have time for this." And she tries to pull him up to practice, but he just makes his body go limp. Like his arms are just like dangling, and he's on his knees, and she almost like just like dragging him along the floor, right?
And
And
then yeah, Coach is like,
he
all
starts
I
to break
ever
down.
wanted was my mom to get better. All I
Yep.
ever did was fall in love. Like I can't go on. Like why does everyone I basically he's like, why does everyone that I like and need in my life like go away? Right?
Yeah. Why did it get taken away from me? And he's
Yeah.
basically like, and he repeats it again. He's like, he goes, I can't go on. He's like, why does it always end up this way? And he's kind of going through this, and as this fades, you see, Emmy and Takashi, they're doing their own like
Practicing. Yeah.
practicing, right? And then we see Kosei going back to his class, and he sees a note, and it says request from Watori, and it says request, and he flips it over, and he sees that it's from Kaori's stationery, and he opens it up, and just a note at the bottom says, "I want cannolis."
Con it is.
Yeah,
Hype.
cannolis. Yeah, and
So yeah, while visiting her, he brings her up
yeah,
to the roof to eat them. And he's making note that she's like, oh yeah, she is very light. Like she's lost like a lot of weight and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and like I said, then he makes note that the people who cares about keeps leaving. But she said in this moment, she's like, yeah, but you have me. And she's so fixated on living because of Kosei. So if she's not giving up either, if she's not giving up, neither can he, right?
yep,
And
yep.
he said that he's like, I can't play. Playing in this state would be a miracle. And then this is when Kaori stands up and mimics playing the violin, and she says, "See, miracles can happen just like that." Yeah.
Yep.
So I really like again just this moment of
Well,
them
yeah,
each
'cause
trying to give
it's
each other
also
some hope.
and it's also snowing a bit, like on the roof too, at this point, right? And
Hi.
it just adds to the imagery of everything, right? And as she collapses like into his arms, and she basically tells him, she's like, "You exist inside me," and
Hi.
she starts talking about the things she knows about him, right? She's like, I know you like egg sandwiches, and I know you like this type of milk, but she's like, there's so much that I don't know about you. And she's like, I really envy Tsubaki because she knows everything. And she's like, and I want to stay because I want to know more about you, right? And then she starts crying and she's saying like she's scared and she's like, please don't leave me.
Hi.
And then this is where the finals basically start, as you see her being prepped for surgery.
Yeah, and it's the day of the competition and the day of her surgery. It happens to both be on the same
Yeah.
day, of course.
Yep.
And she quotes, "We all need someone to kiss us goodbye." Mossy from Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
So Emi and Takashi are amazing. The crowd wonders who is going to win, and this is the part that I made note about. Mike is like, oh yeah, the best has yet to play. Like those.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Those amateurs for?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was hilarious. But yeah, Takashi goes backstage and like they see Kosei, like Emi and Takashi are like, you can't perform like this. Like there's no way, right? So
Well,
and
yeah,
Seto
because so like
too even
Kosei.
makes no like I don't even know if he's even gonna play.
Well, that's just it. So as Takashi's talking, he's basically like, "Do you need a medicine? Do you need your stomach? Like, what's going on?" Kind of thing, right? And the only thing he's whispering over and over again is, "I got to play. I got to play. I have to play. I have to play. I have to play." Like he's just whispering this over and over again. And like you said, Seto goes back and they ask like, "How is he?" Like she basically makes note like he's exactly how he was 2 years ago. She's like, I really don't know if he's going to be able to, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know if he's going to be able to play, right? So Emi and Takashi are basically like worried about him now, and they're like, look, like you look extremely pale, like paler than normal. Like you can't play like this. And he's basically like, look, I'm a musician, I have to play. And then you see him kind of like walk out onto the stage, and he starts heading towards the piano.
So he plays Chopin Ballad Number 1 in G minor, Opus 23. This song is my favorite song. I love this song so much. I listen to it like all the time. Like
Yeah.
when I'm I'm always listening to the song.
I always forget how good this piece is until I hear it again, right?
Yeah.
And then every time I hear it, I'm just like, oh my god, like it actually is like so.
It's so good. It is so good. Hi.
So as he starts to play, he gets his hands down, like his hands over his face, and he's out crying. He's like everything is building up, and his emotions really like starting to take over, and then he hears her voice telling him like, "You're looking down again," and you start to see him like starting to come out of things, like he's like, "Oh yeah, that's right," kind of thing, right? And then he hears Tsubaki cough, and it kind of like snaps him out of things. He like looks over, he's like, "Wait, Tsubaki?" And he's like, "Oh, Tsubaki's here." He's like, "That's right. There's actually people here watching me. There's actually people here for me, right?
Hi.
And then he looks up at the lights again, and again, like staring at them like they're stars, right? And then this is where he starts to, basically start his performance.
I really like this part too when the performance starts, because now he's thinking about back to all these
Everyone.
words from the people around him and who gave him what and where people pushed him and what people said to
Yeah.
him. It's just, I really like this moment, and a lot of the stuff that he was remembering were quotes that we made
Yeah.
in our previous like discussion of the anime, because like those are just like such solid quotes that like you can see them even like being with
Yeah.
Kose, and like there's just some, I really like this like he's thinking about the people who inspired him, and
Yeah.
he's playing with such emotion that the crowd is just captivated by the sound and the colors the piano
Well,
is
that's just it,
producing,
because as they're
metaphorically,
going
but
through,
it's so great.
well, because as you're
Mm.
seeing the crowd, you're seeing the cherry blossoms are wisping around them, right? And they're all taking note of the colors. They're saying like, his music, everything is just bursting with color.
Yeah. Nagi is like, I never knew that your piano can produce such color. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so everyone is just absolutely amazed as the episode ends.
Yes.
So, okay, we're going to take a short break to kind of warn you guys here. If you do not want spoilers
About
you're
the
gonna have to
ending, now's the
about
time
the
to
ending.
stop.
Now's the time to stop. So we're going to give our rating of the anime now before we
Yeah.
cover
Jump
episode
into the final.
22
Yeah.
and a little bit beyond. But yeah, if you do not want spoilers, please leave.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
thank you if you are leaving. Thank you so much for listening up to this point, and I hope you go and watch the anime yourself, because it is
It's
a
worth it.
fantastic ending.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm actually curious on. I'll actually give my thoughts first, because I know you have a lot more to break down. But
Yeah.
for me, I know I have a lot of complaints about this episode, particularly with Tsubaki and just yeah. But the emotional roller coaster and the story as a whole is so good. It's one of the only things that can make me cry every single time I watch it. It does not matter.
Yeah.
When I watch it, I always cry to this anime, and just personally the music, the animation, the emotion, just how everything was all tied together so well, that I will watch this anime every April until I die. Like, I absolutely love this anime. So for me, even with the bad things I said, I have to give this a perfect 10 out of 10. It's just a masterpiece anime, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm curious on your rating of it, and your perspective on it as a whole.
Yeah, like I said, there's minor faults with it. Like again, the whole Sabaki situation, like the way the way she is, the way she acts, like the sheer annoyance of her and the way things go through, it does knock it down a little bit. Even again, the constant reoccurrence of their abuse towards him as more of like a comedic side of thing. I really didn't enjoy that, especially from the perspective of the fact that they know everything about what his backstory was and all the abuse he went through with his mother. So for them to carry on with this, again, I really didn't like it. So I mean, realistically, I mean, you could put it like at 9.7, 9.8, but given the fact of the sheer impact this anime has had on a generation of anime watchers, the fact that it's still the biggest thing in April. No matter what release has come out, this is still the biggest and most talked about thing in April. Like, when April hits, the first thing people do is play the opening song. There's so many video edits, there's so many constant things, and that one song video is enough to draw out so much emotion from people. And
Yeah.
and it's a lot of,
is so good.
that's just it, and it draws so much emotion out of people. And again, it's a lot like Madoka Magica, where it's like that changed an entire genre. Just the sheer impact it's had on anime, and the fact that this is still so talked about after all these years, and it's still
13
people's
years later.
favorite
13
anime.
years later.
And it's still people's favorite
Exactly.
anime, and it's still a song that's an
It is
anime that's
mine.
talked about so much in April. that, again, you can't not factor that into your rating. So, like, while realistically I'd probably put this a 9.7, factoring in everything, it has to bring it up to a 10. It has to. You have to factor that in, and again, it is just a perfect 10 across the board.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's carry on.
Now we are going
Episode
to go
12.
back and go to episode 22, not
Yeah,
12.
sorry, 12,
We're
22.
not going back that far.
So again,
So-
it starts carrying on with the performance, and again showcasing a lot more of that side before switching to a brief update on Kaori's surgery.
That you see her in deep into surgery.
Yep.
And so now she shows up in his head as he is playing, and now he can start
Yep.
hearing her violin playing as he continues his performance. And
Yeah, it's like
as-
everything around him turns into like a blue sky. It's almost like he's on top of the sky kind of thing,
Mhm.
right? And everything's all around him. And you see like snowflakes falling, and then that's when initially it's like a hollow, ghostly version of her appears before she becomes solid and starts playing. Like you said, her violin.
Yeah, and then as the song is starting to get closer to the conclusion, she starts disappearing, and he's
Yep.
begging her to just call me again, even if it is to just waste time. I don't care if that I'm just friend A. When he wishes so I don't know if you when he finishes the song, he says goodbye while crying. I don't know if you
Yeah.
want to also add more to the performance there.
It's not much. Again, like as she's disappearing, it's like this buildup of color. It's like these like cherry blossoms are just flying out of her, and then she just completely bursts into this massive like rendition of color, right? As the performance ends, and like you said, he just starts crying near the end as he says goodbye, and that's pretty much it. Like we don't get like a reaction of the crowd. We don't get any of that thing. That's basically where everything ends, and then we just see him.
We know who won.
Well, obviously, but like you don't get.
Mike was right. Everyone else was just amateur.
But again,
Everyone
you
else
just
was
don't.
just amateur.
In my head, I was mad at it because I was like, I wanted
Mm.
that reaction. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see the impact it had on the people. Like I wanted to see that, and that got taken away from us. So
I think in
The-
this moment it was great to not do it because it just really showcased that this was a true moment just between Kaori and Kosei.
I know,
So
I know that's
don't-
what it was.
Yeah,
I know that it was. But me in that moment, I was like, I wanted that. I wanted that. But
I would have liked it if they jumped back to it at the very
At a
end
later
of the
point.
anime, and
Yes,
they showed,
yes.
and like you hear the crowd roaring as they showed like first, second, third, right?
Yeah.
That's what I would have liked
Just
to see,
something.
maybe a
Just
little bit
something.
at the end there.
But yeah. But
But in the next
as
scene,
it carries on,
yeah,
as it
his
carries
parents, his parents give it showcases her,
Her
parents,
parents.
yeah,
Yeah.
giving him a letter,
Yeah.
and it's kind of presumed that this was after Kaori's funeral. So
yes, because they're in like a graveyard, basically.
Yeah.
So,
he
so
doesn't
there's like
open it right away.
So we see it like a slight time skip because this is obviously in the winter when this happens, or there's snow on the ground, anyways. And then it kind of the next thing you see him walking, and there's cherry blossoms around.
Yeah, and then you see him walking into like the school, right? So, and then you see Watu trying to keep his spirits up, and Tsubaki's kind of wondering like, well, I don't really know what to say in this moment and stuff like that. So, it's spring, and then like as Kosei is walking around, he finally opens the letter.
Well, it's because he sees a cat, so he sees
Yeah.
the image of the black cat, and he stops and he thinks about her and about everything, right? And then that's when you see him turn to open the letter, and he starts reading it as he's walking.
So, yeah, the letter says, "Dear Kosei, it feels weird to be writing a letter to someone who was just with me a moment ago. You're an awful person. Dogged, slow, and a dummy. The first time I saw you was when I was 5. It was during a recital for the piano school I was going back to then. The boy who appeared so awkwardly drove the audience into laughter when he bumped into the stool. He sat down before the piano that was too big for him, and the moment he played that first note, he became the object of my admiration. Playing notes as colorful as a 24-color palette, the melody began to dance. I was so surprised when the kid next to me burst out crying. And yet, you're going to quit playing the piano? After influencing my life the way you did? How awful is that? I ran home and begged my parents to buy me a violin so I could play with you. When I found out that we were going to the same junior high, I was happy, but how could I find a way to talk to you? Maybe I'll buy sandwiches every day? But in the end, all I could do was watch you. After all, you guys were too tight. There was no space for me to slip in. I had surgery as a child, and then got treated regularly as an outpatient. After I collapsed in the 7th grade, I was in and out of the hospital repeatedly. I started spending more time in than out. I was hardly ever even in school by then. I knew that I wasn't very well. One night, when I saw my mother and father crying in the hospital waiting room, I realized I didn't have much time. That was the moment that I broke into a run. I started doing whatever I wanted, so I wouldn't bring my regrets with me to heaven. Those contact lenses that scared the heck out of me, eating a whole cake, which I'd never done before because I was too worried about my weight, even the music score that bossed me around so heartedly, I played them my way. And then I told one single lie. Kaori likes watery. That was the lie I told. That lie would bring before me Kosei. It brought you to me. Please tell Watery that I'm sorry. I guess it won't be long before he forgets all about me. As a friend, he's a pretty fun guy, but I'd rather have someone more intense. Also, please tell Tsubaki that I'm sorry. I'm just someone who's passing through, who'll be gone. I didn't want to leave an awkward mess behind. So I couldn't ask Tsubaki, or rather, even if I asked her straight up, hey, please introduce me to Arima? I don't think Tsubaki would have been okay with that. After all, Tsubaki was so crazy about you. We'd all known for a long time. The only ones who didn't know were you and Tsubaki. The you that my underhanded lie brought to me wasn't who I imagined. You were more negative and passive than I thought, not to mention stubborn, relentless, and a camera voyager. Your voice was lower than I thought, and you were more manly than I thought, and you were just as gentle as I thought. The river was so cold and felt so good when we jumped off Courage Bridge, wasn't it? The round moon peeking into the music room looked like a delicious manju bun. When we raced that train, I really thought we could win. It was fun singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star together under the shining stars, wasn't it? There's just something about the school at night, right? Don't you think snow looks just like cherry blossom petals? To be so consumed by everything off stage when I'm a musician? That just doesn't make any sense, does it? Isn't it funny how the most unforgettable scenes can be so trivial? Well, what
That's
about
not
you?
true.
Oh, sorry. What about you? Was I able to live inside someone's heart?
Yes, you were.
Was I able to live inside your heart?
You barged right in without taking off your shoes.
Do you think you'll remember me at least a little?
If I ever forgot you, you'd know you'd come back to haunt me.
You better not hit reset.
As if I ever would.
Don't forget me, okay?
Okay,
That's a promise, okay?
okay.
I'm glad it's you after all. Will I reach you? I hope I can reach you. Kosei, I love you. I love you. Sorry I didn't eat all those canapes. Sorry I hit you. Sorry I was such a brat. Sorry a million times over. Thank you. P.S. I'm enclosing something I've always treasured. If you don't want it, feel free to tear it up and throw it away.
Spring will be here soon. Spring, the season I met you, is coming. A spring without you is coming.